The stars stretched endlessly above Earth's orbit, their soft light reflecting on the polished hulls of the massive human dreadnoughts. From the command bridge of the Ardent Sentinel, Admiral Kalen watched silently, his eyes tracing the glittering constellations that had guided humanity for centuries. He felt a quiet pride. For decades, Earth had prepared not for war, but for a moment like this. The galaxy had underestimated humanity, assuming the people of Earth would remain quiet observers of the universe, content with their home and their small corner of the stars. But they were wrong. Below, the crew of the Ardent Sentinel moved with precise coordination. Each member knew their role perfectly, from the engineers maintaining the ship's powerful engines to the navigators charting their path through hyperspace. The dreadnoughts were not just enormous, they were masterpieces of human ingenuity. Every panel, every light, and every system had been tested again and again. These ships were built not only to travel across vast distances but to protect, to explore, and to show that humanity had arrived. Kalen turned to Lieutenant Mira Solis, his second-in-command. Her hair was pulled back neatly, and her sharp eyes reflected the soft lights of the control panels. "Lieutenant, report on the hyperspace trajectory," he asked. "Course is stable, Admiral," Mira replied. "Outer colonies will detect us within the next few hours. All systems are functioning at maximum efficiency. No deviations detected." Kalen nodded. "Good. It's important we arrive smoothly." No surprises. The galaxy beyond Earth had changed in the centuries since humanity had begun traveling to the stars. Many alien civilizations had assumed Earth would remain isolated, a quiet world content with its past. Rumors of human creativity and resilience circulated in hushed tones at galactic forums. But no one truly believed Earth would act beyond its borders. That assumption was about to end. On a distant colony station near the edges of human-controlled space, alien diplomats discussed Earth's neutrality. Large, multi-limbed beings with skin like polished stone leaned over glowing consoles, exchanging theories about human behavior. "Earth has always stayed out of conflicts," one diplomat said, its voice like the hum of a deep engine. "They observe, they prepare, but they never interfere." "True," another replied. "But what if they finally decide to act? Their technology is unmatched. Imagine what a single human fleet could do." They paused, considering the possibility. And yet, they did not realize that the human fleet was already moving closer, through the dark stretches of space, silent and swift. Back on the Ardent Sentinel, Kalen walked the corridors, passing crew members busy at their stations. Some monitored communications, others scanned star charts. Every face reflected focus, determination, and calm excitement. Humans had a way of adapting quickly, of thinking creatively under pressure, and every member of the fleet embodied that spirit. In the science lab, Dr. Leora Vance adjusted a series of sensors designed to measure nearby cosmic phenomena. She glanced at a readout and smiled. "Admiral, we're about to leave hyperspace. You'll want to see this." Kalen followed her to the observation deck. Outside, the stars began to stretch into long lines as the ship decelerated from hyperspace. Slowly, the familiar shapes of distant planets and asteroid belts appeared. The human fleet had arrived in a region that had seen little attention for centuries. "This is it," Kalen said softly. "The outer colonies. The galaxy believes they are alone, and they are not ready for what's coming." But Kalen did not mean harm. Humanity's mission was one of protection and guidance. Over time, small colonies had struggled with resource shortages, rogue cosmic hazards, and political instability. The human fleet's arrival was meant to be a turning point, not a threat. Yet the sheer size of the dreadnoughts, the gleaming metal and the silent power they carried, was bound to leave an impression. As the first colony came into view, the station's sensors picked up unusual readings. Massive ships, unlike anything the colonists had seen, were approaching. Panic, curiosity, and awe rippled through the colony. Holoscreens lit up with emergency messages, asking for information, for instructions. And yet, no one could respond fast enough. The ships were already too close. On the bridge of the lead dreadnought, Kalen activated a secure communication channel. His voice was calm, but authoritative. "This is Admiral Kalen of the Earth Fleet," he said. "We come as friends. We mean no harm. Our mission is to assist and protect. Please prepare to receive our representatives." The colonists stared at the holographic projection of Kalen, a human figure in a crisp uniform, and felt a mix of fear and wonder. These were humans, yes, but so much larger, so much more advanced than any they had known. For a moment, the galaxy's long-held assumptions about Earth seemed fragile, like thin glass ready to shatter. Meanwhile, the aliens observing from afar began to notice the massive human vessels entering the outer systems. They sent messages to one another, speculating on Earth's intentions. But no one dared move closer. They were cautious. Humans had earned a reputation for thinking creatively, for solving problems in ways that other civilizations could not predict. And the dreadnoughts themselves were a warning, silent, massive, unstoppable in appearance. In the engineering bay of the Ardent Sentinel, Chief Engineer Rylan adjusted the propulsion systems. Sparks flew across the panels, but everything remained under control. "All systems nominal," he reported to Kalen. "The fleet is ready to operate at full capacity. We could respond to any threat, though I hope we won't have to." Kalen smiled faintly. "We won't. Our strength lies in intelligence, planning, and cooperation. Force is a last resort. We are here to inspire confidence, not fear." The fleet began coordinated maneuvers, forming patterns that showcased precision and discipline. Even from orbit, the colony's sensors detected the human ships aligning in perfect harmony. It was a display of power, yes, but also of skill and dedication. The aliens watching from afar could only marvel at the organization, wondering how such small beings, humans, they reminded themselves could achieve such a feat. As night fell over the colony's main planet, holographic advertisements, streetlights, and the soft glow of habitation domes cast a warm glow. People went about their lives, unaware that history was unfolding above them. For some, the first sight of the human dreadnoughts would be terrifying. For others, it would be a moment of hope, proof that humans could rise to challenges, protect those in need, and inspire the galaxy. Kalen remained on the observation deck, looking out at the colonies below. He thought of Earth, of its people, and of all the generations who had dreamed of reaching the stars. Humanity had always been underestimated. It had always relied on ingenuity, courage, and unity to overcome obstacles. Now, in this quiet moment before their arrival, Kalen felt a deep sense of pride. "This is just the beginning," he murmured to himself. "They will see what humans are capable of, not through war, but through wisdom, skill, and determination." Across the fleet, crew members prepared for the first contact. Some checked communications, others mapped planetary orbits, and some simply stared at the stars, filled with a mixture of nerves and excitement. Every person aboard knew the significance of this moment. History was being made, and humanity's presence in the galaxy was about to be felt in a way that no one had imagined. For hours, the fleet moved silently, its massive hulls gleaming in the faint starlight. Kalen reflected on the countless training exercises, simulations, and strategies that had led to this moment. The galaxy had underestimated Earth for centuries. But now the people of the stars would see that humanity was capable of things beyond imagination. Finally, as the first human delegation prepared to step down to the colony stations, Kalen felt a mixture of anticipation and calm resolve. The dreadnoughts loomed above, powerful and impressive, yet their presence was a promise, not a threat. Humanity had come to the outer colonies to help, to guide, and to inspire. And when the aliens finally realized the truth, they would understand that Earth had arrived not to conquer, but to show what the spirit of humanity could achieve. The calm before the arrival was ending. Soon, the galaxy would remember the name of Earth. The human dreadnoughts drifted silently above the outer colonies, their immense hulls reflecting the dim light of distant stars. From the surface of the largest colony, inhabitants stared up in awe. Ships larger than any city structure hovered gracefully, perfectly still, yet impossibly powerful. Rumors had circulated about humans' technological skill, but no one had truly expected to see it in person. In the control room of the colony's central station, Chief Administrator Rhinax ran through incoming sensor data. Lines of code and graphical readouts flashed across the translucent screens, showing dozens of enormous objects entering their space. The aliens around him muttered anxiously, their voices a mixture of disbelief and fear. "Are these their entire fleet?" one of the diplomats whispered. Its elongated fingers trembled slightly as it tapped the screen. Rhinax shook his head. "I do not know. But whatever they are far beyond anything we have seen, and they are moving with purpose." Meanwhile, aboard the lead human dreadnought, Admiral Kalen and Lieutenant Mira Solis prepared for the first official contact. They were not here to intimidate or attack. Their mission was to demonstrate humanity's unique strengths, its intelligence, creativity, and commitment to protecting others. "Lieutenant," Kalen said, "we need to make them understand who we are and why we are here. Show them our intentions clearly, but leave room for awe. They must see that humans are more than they expected." Mira nodded. "Understood, Admiral. Preparing communications and observation signals now." Outside the observation window, the alien colonies could see the humans moving within the dreadnoughts. They were not rushing or acting aggressively. Humans were walking calmly, organizing, preparing for interaction. Every gesture seemed precise and deliberate. Slowly, fear shifted into curiosity. On the colony's surface, scientists and engineers scrambled to understand what they were witnessing. Massive energy readings, far beyond normal technological output, shimmered in the atmosphere as the dreadnoughts demonstrated their silent power. Alien scholars recorded every detail, their eyes wide with wonder. High above, Kalen activated a secure holographic projection. A human figure appeared in the center of the largest observation chamber, illuminated against the backdrop of stars. The projection was lifelike and imposing, yet Kalen's tone remained calm and friendly. "This is Admiral Kalen of Earth," he said. "We have traveled a long distance to ensure the safety and stability of this sector. Our mission is one of guidance, support, and protection. We do not come as conquerors. We come as friends. And we ask only to assist." From the colony, beings of all shapes and sizes watched the hologram. The words were clear, simple, and yet carried weight. Humans were not subtle, but they were honest, direct, and composed. Slowly, the aliens realized that these humans were unlike anything they had encountered. Their reputation for ingenuity was true, and their presence here was a clear sign that Earth had arrived in force. Some diplomats tried to respond quickly, sending messages full of questions and requests for explanation. Kalen smiled slightly at the flurry of signals. Humans had anticipated this. They had designed a system capable of translating alien languages instantly, delivering responses that were polite, clear, and precise. Within moments, the colony received a calm, concise message in every dialect. "We are here to ensure the safety of your systems, to offer assistance, and to share knowledge. We wish to cooperate fully. Please send your representatives to meet us at your earliest convenience." The aliens paused. The words were not threatening. They were practical, measured, and confident. Slowly, relief began to replace fear. Yet, awe remained. These humans had arrived not with chaos or violence, but with technology and organization far beyond what anyone had imagined. On board the dreadnought, Kalen walked along the observation deck. He watched the alien colonies below, their cities, their lights, their people moving unaware of the full scale of what was happening above. The fleet's mission was clear: demonstrate humanity's capacity to protect, to guide, and to innovate without using force. Lieutenant Solis approached him. "Admiral, sensors show that some colonies are attempting to scan our ships. They're amazed at the technology. Some are trying to understand how we move so efficiently." Kalen nodded. "Good. Let them see our capabilities. not as a threat, but as inspiration. Humanity is not known for dominance. It is known for problem-solving, creativity, and unity. We need them to understand that. Back on the colony's surface, a group of scientists and engineers gathered in a central plaza. Holoscreens displayed the dreadnoughts, their energy flows, and the complex patterns of their systems. Each human ship seemed alive, almost as if it were an extension of its crew. The aliens marveled at the precision, the attention to detail, and the elegance of the designs. "I have never seen anything like this," said a young scholar. "They are not only powerful, they are intelligent in ways we cannot fully comprehend." "Yes," replied an elder scientist, "and they have come here willingly. There is no demand, no threat, only a willingness to help." High above, the human fleet continued to demonstrate its operational capabilities. Small exploratory drones were released, moving around asteroid belts and planetary rings. They scanned, analyzed, and recorded vast amounts of data, returning to the dreadnoughts without incident. The efficiency was staggering, and the aliens watching realized that humans were capable of understanding and controlling systems on a scale that was almost unimaginable. Kalen observed the progress with satisfaction. "Every action we take must show intelligence and care," he said. "The galaxy needs to see that humans are reliable, trustworthy, and creative. That is our true strength." In the alien council chambers, diplomats debated quietly. One by one, their fears began to dissolve. Humans had not attacked. They had not made demands. Instead, they had arrived with clarity, order, and a willingness to collaborate. Slowly, the council recognized that these humans were unlike any species they had known. "They are extraordinary," whispered one diplomat. "Not in strength alone, but in thought, in planning, in purpose. They are not here to destroy, but to demonstrate what they can do." As the hours passed, the colony began preparing for the first in-person meetings. Representative teams were chosen, scientists, engineers, and officials who could observe the humans and learn. There was still curiosity, still tension, but also a growing sense of hope. The galaxy had long underestimated humanity, but that mistake would no longer be repeated. Meanwhile, in the human fleet, Kalen convened a small council. Lieutenant Solis, Chief Engineer Rylan, and Dr. Vance gathered to discuss next steps. "We've made our presence known," Kalen said. "The colonies understand we are here to assist. Now, we must show what humans can do, not through force, but through problem-solving and ingenuity. There are challenges here, resources, orbital hazards, and technical difficulties. We can address these without conflict, and in doing so, demonstrate our value." Dr. Vance nodded. "I've already prepared a series of demonstrations. Energy stabilization, asteroid deflection simulations, resource distribution plans. We can show them practical applications of our technology immediately," Rylan added. "And the fleet itself can act as a living example. We can maneuver with precision, deploy drones, and monitor hazards in real time. It will show coordination, intelligence, and discipline, all hallmarks of human capability." Kalen smiled faintly. "Good. Let them see humanity at its best. Not as conquerors, but as innovators and protectors." Outside, the alien colonies observed every movement. The drones and small human teams demonstrated techniques to stabilize asteroid belts, redirect energy flows safely, and improve orbital communications. Every demonstration was precise, clear, and effective. The aliens could see the difference immediately. Problems that had taken decades to address were solved in hours. "This is incredible," said one alien engineer. "They are solving issues we thought were unsolvable. And they do it without causing harm, without taking advantage. They are remarkable." By the end of the first day, the colonies began to understand a simple truth. Humanity's strength was not in aggression, but in intelligence, creativity, and careful planning. The humans had arrived not to dominate, but to elevate, to inspire, and to assist. High above, Kalen allowed himself a moment of quiet reflection. The galaxy had long assumed Earth would remain isolated, silent, and passive. But humans had arrived not to prove power, but to prove possibility. Their dreadnoughts, massive and awe-inspiring, were symbols of capability, not threats. As night fell across the outer colonies, lights twinkled in cities, and on space stations, people looked up at the human fleet, some with fear, many with hope, and all with wonder. For the first time in generations, they saw what humanity could achieve when intellect, creativity, and unity were applied without malice. Kalen gazed at the stars, thinking of Earth and the generations who had built this moment. "This is only the beginning," he murmured. "They will understand. They will see that humans are not just another species in the galaxy. We are innovators, problem solvers, and protectors. And when the time comes, they will know that Earth has arrived." The fleet remained above the colonies, silent and powerful, a reminder of what humans could accomplish. The sudden revelation of humanity's presence shifted the balance of perception. Fear became curiosity, skepticism became respect, and doubt became hope. The galaxy had been waiting for Earth, and now Earth had arrived not with force, but with brilliance. The outer colonies had begun to settle into a new reality. For weeks, the human dreadnoughts hovered above, massive and silent, yet their presence was not threatening. Instead, it had become a symbol of hope and capability. People on the colonies watched daily as humans deployed drones, performed orbital maneuvers, and coordinated complex tasks with a precision they had never imagined possible. Admiral Kalen stood on the bridge of the Ardent Sentinel, watching the colony below. He felt a deep satisfaction. The humans had arrived not to conquer or to dominate, but to show the galaxy what ingenuity, intelligence, and unity could achieve. Every action had been carefully planned, designed to inspire confidence and demonstrate humanity's potential. Lieutenant Mira Solis approached him, her tablet glowing softly in her hands. "Admiral, the colony's energy grids are showing instability. If left unchecked, it could affect multiple stations." Kalen nodded. "Show them how to stabilize it. This is our opportunity to demonstrate human problem-solving skills." Quote, "Within moments, Dr. Leora Vance and her team had designed a precise energy redistribution plan. Small drones moved along the power conduits, analyzing each node, calculating optimal flows, and redirecting energy where it was needed most. The process was efficient, methodical, and elegant. By the time the alien engineers on the colony realized what was happening, the energy grids were fully stabilized. One of the alien engineers, a tall figure with translucent skin and eyes that reflected starlight, exclaimed, "They did this in minutes. It would have taken us months." Kalen's voice came over the communication channel. "We prioritize precision and cooperation. Every problem has a solution if approached with understanding and logic." The colony's inhabitants began to follow the human examples, implementing strategies for resource management, communication efficiency, and orbital safety. Slowly, the fear that had accompanied humanity's arrival began to transform into admiration and trust. Humans were not dominating. They were teaching, assisting, and guiding. Meanwhile, on a nearby asteroid field, a potential hazard threatened several colonies. Large rock formations were on a collision course with orbital stations. Alien scientists scrambled to calculate trajectories, but their technology was limited in scope. Kalen's fleet, however, moved with flawless coordination. Dreadnoughts deployed specialized drones that could attach temporary stabilizers to the asteroids. Calculations were relayed instantly across the fleet. Small adjustments to rotation and velocity ensured the asteroids would pass harmlessly, avoiding any damage to stations or colonies. From the surface, children and adults alike watched the spectacle. They had never seen such precision or coordination. The asteroids moved carefully, as if guided by invisible hands, and the colonies were safe. "This is incredible," said a young engineer. "They are solving problems we thought were impossible." Kalen smiled at the observation. That is humanity. We rely on intelligence, cooperation, and innovation. Power is only effective when guided by wisdom. Not all of the human demonstrations were technical. Cultural exchanges were equally important. On the main colony, human teams set up communication hubs, allowing colonies to interact directly with humans. They shared knowledge of Earth's history, science, and philosophy. Small holographic lessons, demonstrations of creative problem-solving, and engineering workshops were conducted daily. The alien colonists were fascinated. Humans were not only technologically advanced, but also adaptable, thoughtful, and collaborative. They demonstrated a level of understanding that inspired admiration. Alien children eagerly participated in human-led workshops, learning principles of physics, engineering, and strategy that would have otherwise taken years to grasp. In the fleet, Kalen and his officers coordinated another demonstration, this time involving orbital construction. Several of the outer colonies lacked efficient docking stations and orbital infrastructure. Human dreadnoughts worked with drones and engineers to plan, design, and construct modular stations capable of rapid expansion and resource management. The aliens observed in amazement as entire platforms were assembled, piece by piece in orbit, then smoothly integrated into existing structures. Each component was precisely calculated and delivered, every operation flawless. The colonies marveled at the human ability to coordinate multiple tasks over vast distances with minimal error. Dr. Vance explained to one group of alien engineers, "Humans value efficiency and clarity. We plan carefully, communicate constantly, and monitor every detail. These principles allow us to achieve what might seem impossible at first glance." Outside, the stars seemed to shine brighter as the fleet moved through the void. Alien scholars recorded every moment, knowing that history was being rewritten. Humans were demonstrating not only their technical skill, but also their creativity and adaptability. Every challenge the colonies faced, energy shortages, structural inefficiencies, orbital hazards, was met with calm, intelligent solutions. On the bridge of the Ardent Sentinel, Kalen observed the progress. He reflected on humanity's long history of overcoming challenges. From their earliest days on Earth, humans had relied on intelligence, creativity, and cooperation to thrive. Now, in the outer colonies of the galaxy, these same traits were being demonstrated on a scale no one had imagined. Lieutenant Solis approached again. "Admiral, some alien fleets from neighboring systems are observing us. They seem curious and cautious." "And," Kalen nodded. "Good. Let them see what humans can do. Not through aggression, but through intelligence and careful planning. This is how we inspire confidence, not fear." Throughout the day, the fleet performed multiple demonstrations. Drones were sent to survey distant asteroid belts, map safe trade routes, and monitor cosmic phenomena. Every maneuver was precise, every calculation meticulous. The alien observers could not help but compare these operations to their own methods. Humans did not rely solely on brute force or raw speed. They relied on thought, observation, and coordination. One of the alien council members, a dignified figure with silver-hued skin, spoke quietly to a colleague. "They are not only powerful, they are clever. Their strategies are adaptable, their planning meticulous. We assumed they would rely on strength alone, but their mind is the real advantage." Even as demonstrations continued, humans maintained a calm demeanor. They did not rush. They did not panic. And they did not act carelessly. Every human crew member moved with purpose, every decision carefully weighed. The alien colonies began to see a pattern. The human strength lay not in aggression or size, but in intellect, discipline, and unity. As evening approached on the colony, Kalen decided to launch a final demonstration for the day. Several smaller stations were struggling with resource distribution. Humans deployed drones to transport essential supplies, calculate optimal delivery routes, and monitor storage levels in real time. The process was flawless. Supplies were delivered efficiently, systems optimized, and potential shortages eliminated before they could become problems. From the colony surface, a crowd gathered to watch. Children pointed excitedly. Adults whispered in awe. And scientists took notes furiously. The humans had not only solved immediate problems, they had shown how to prevent them in the future. A young alien child turned to its parent. "Why are they helping us like this?" it asked. The parent smiled gently. "Because that is what humans do. They are clever. And they care. They show strength through wisdom, not fear." High above, Kalen watched the colony and its people. He felt a deep sense of pride. Humanity had arrived not to dominate, but to inspire. They had proven that intelligence, creativity, and cooperation could achieve what brute force never could. The galaxy would remember this moment not as a conquest, but as a revelation. As night fell across the colonies, the human fleet maintained a quiet vigilance. Drones patrolled distant asteroid fields, monitors scanned for potential hazards, and teams continued to work on improving infrastructure and communication. Every action, every maneuver, every decision reflected the same principle. Humanity's strength was not measured in destruction, but in creation, problem-solving, and care. In the alien council chambers, discussions shifted. Fear had been replaced by respect, skepticism by curiosity, and doubt by admiration. Humanity had shown that they were more than a rumor, more than a legend. They were innovators, protectors, and thinkers. One diplomat spoke softly. "We assumed Earth would remain distant and isolated. We assumed they would never act. But now, we see, they are capable of extraordinary things. Their presence is a gift, not a threat." By the end of the day, the outer colonies had transformed. The humans had demonstrated their might and wit, not through aggression, but through intelligence, precision, and care. Trust began to form between humans and alien colonies, a foundation upon which future cooperation could be built. Kalen allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. Humanity had arrived in the galaxy not as conquerors, but as innovators. They had shown the universe that strength comes from thought, planning, and unity. Every obstacle they faced was an opportunity to demonstrate what humans could achieve, and every alien observer had witnessed the remarkable combination of intelligence and compassion that defined Earth's people. As the stars glimmered above, the dreadnoughts stood as silent sentinels. They were powerful, yes, but they were also symbols of human ingenuity, care, and cooperation. The galaxy had begun to see that humans were not to be underestimated. Their strength lay in the mind, in creativity, and in the unity of a species that had learned to thrive through intelligence and determination. The day ended with the colonies inspired, their leaders in awe, and their people filled with hope. Humanity had arrived not to conquer, but to elevate. The galaxy was watching, and for the first time, it understood that when humans appeared, problems could be solved, dangers mitigated, and possibilities expanded, all without conflict, all without fear. The calm, precise, and brilliant actions of the human fleet had made one thing clear. Earth was not passive. Earth was here, and Earth would show what humanity could achieve not through destruction, but through intelligence, creativity, and unwavering unity. The stars above the outer colonies shimmered faintly, reflecting the vast presence of the human dreadnoughts that now hovered gracefully in orbit. For weeks, humans had demonstrated their abilities, solved problems, and shown the galaxy what intelligence, creativity, and cooperation could achieve. Slowly, the outer colonies began to trust them not out of fear, but out of admiration and understanding. Admiral Kalen stood on the bridge of the Ardent Sentinel, watching the bustling colonies below. Hollow screens displayed energy grids, orbital traffic, and resource distribution, all systems now optimized with the assistance of the human fleet. The colonies were thriving, supplies moved efficiently, stations operated smoothly, and communication networks spanned the planets with perfect clarity. Humanity's presence had transformed chaos into order, uncertainty into stability. Lieutenant Mira Solis approached, her tablet glowing softly in the dim light. "Admiral, the Council of Outer Colonies has requested a formal meeting. They wish to discuss long-term cooperation and alliances." Kalen nodded. "Good. This is exactly what we hoped for. Humanity has arrived not to dominate, but to build relationships and offer solutions. Let them see that we can work together for mutual benefit. On the surface of the largest colony, representatives gathered in a grand hall, designed to accommodate a meeting of multiple species. Humans and aliens sat together, observing one another carefully. While humans appeared calm and approachable, the alien delegates still carried a sense of awe. Even the most experienced diplomats could not ignore the intelligence, discipline, and confidence that radiated from the human leaders. A holographic projection of Kalen appeared at the center of the chamber. His voice was clear and measured. "We have come to your colonies with one goal: to share knowledge, provide guidance, and establish systems of cooperation. Our presence here is not to command, but to collaborate. Together, we can achieve more than any species could alone." One of the alien delegates, a tall being with crystalline skin, stepped forward. "Your fleet and your technology are unlike anything we have seen. You solve problems we thought were unsolvable. But why help us? What is humanity's purpose in this galaxy?" Kalen's eyes were calm and thoughtful. "Humanity has always sought progress not for power, but for understanding. Our strength lies in intelligence, creativity, and unity. We help because we believe that cooperation creates opportunity, safety, and growth for all. Strength is not shown through fear, but through the solutions we create and the lives we improve." The alien council murmured among themselves, exchanging glances of wonder and respect. Slowly, a sense of hope spread through the room. Humans were not conquerors. They were guides, partners, and innovators. Outside, the human fleet continued its work. Smaller dreadnoughts patrolled the colonies, ensuring that orbital debris, asteroids, or any cosmic hazards posed no threat. Drones monitored planetary systems, checked resource levels, and performed repairs on orbital infrastructure. Every operation reflected the same principles humans had demonstrated from the beginning: intelligence, precision, and care. Back in the council hall, the alien delegates were shown detailed simulations. Energy grids were optimized, trade routes mapped, and stations strengthened. Every improvement was explained in simple terms, with visual aids and holographic demonstrations. The aliens were amazed at how quickly and efficiently the humans implemented these solutions. A younger alien delegate, curious and enthusiastic, asked, "How do you achieve such efficiency? How can one species manage so many tasks at once?" Dr. Leora Vance, standing beside Kalen, answered calmly, "We rely on observation, analysis, and cooperation. Every problem is broken into smaller parts, solved logically, and integrated into the whole system. We communicate constantly and coordinate every action. By planning carefully and working together, even complex tasks become manageable." The alien delegates nodded. Slowly, understanding replaced skepticism. Humanity's methods were not only effective, but they were also replicable. The colonies could learn, adopt, and implement these strategies themselves. Knowledge was being shared freely, and trust was growing. Meanwhile, Admiral Kalen convened his officers. "The colonies are beginning to trust us," he said. "It is time to demonstrate the next level of cooperation. Interstellar collaboration. We will establish trade, science, and communication networks that connect these colonies not only to Earth, but to one another. This will show that collaboration, not conflict, is the future of the galaxy." Lieutenant Solis nodded. "We have prepared the infrastructure for it. Drones and relay stations can create instantaneous communication across hundreds of light years. Trade routes can be optimized using human-calculated algorithms. Everything is ready for integration." The colonies watched as human engineers began establishing interstellar relays. Massive satellite systems moved into position, each one precisely calculated to maximize efficiency. Communications, trade, and scientific research could now flow freely between distant planets. Humans taught the alien engineers how to operate these systems, sharing the knowledge openly and patiently. As the new networks came online, the colonies began to see immediate improvements. Messages that once took days now arrived instantly. Supplies could be delivered efficiently, reducing shortages and delays. Scientists from different worlds could collaborate in real time, accelerating discoveries. Humanity's presence had not only solved immediate problems, but it had created systems that would continue to benefit the galaxy long after the humans departed. In the evenings, human and alien representatives gathered for informal meetings. Cultural exchanges, discussions, and collaborative planning sessions took place. Humans shared stories of Earth, its history, and its values. Aliens shared their own experiences, their customs, and their knowledge of the universe. Slowly, barriers of fear and suspicion melted away. Trust and mutual respect replaced them. High above, the human dreadnoughts continued to patrol and monitor. Even as work continued on the ground, the fleet's presence was a reassurance. They were silent sentinels, powerful but non-threatening, a constant reminder that humanity had arrived to protect, assist, and inspire. Kalen reflected on the progress. The galaxy had assumed Earth would remain distant, quiet, and uninvolved. But humans had acted differently. They had arrived not to dominate, but to show what intelligence, creativity, and cooperation could accomplish. Through careful planning, problem-solving, and patience, they had transformed fear into hope, skepticism into trust, and isolation into collaboration. Lieutenant Solis approached again. "Admiral, neighboring systems are sending envoys to observe. They want to learn from us, to understand how humans operate. Our reputation is spreading." Kalen smiled. "Good. Let them see that humanity's strength is not in aggression, but in thought, planning, and unity. That is the legacy we leave behind. Not fear, but inspiration." The colonies began organizing joint councils with humans and aliens working together. Engineers collaborated on new technologies, scientists shared discoveries, and diplomats planned interstellar agreements. Problems that had plagued these distant worlds for decades were solved in weeks. The galaxy had begun to see a new way forward. One guided by intelligence, cooperation, and respect. One of the alien council members spoke to Kalen privately. "Your species has changed the way we see the galaxy. We expected isolation and passivity. Instead, you have brought guidance, solutions, and hope. How do you do this?" Kalen's expression was calm but determined. "Humanity has always believed in problem-solving, learning, and helping others when possible. Strength is not measured by force, but by the ability to create positive change. That is what we bring, wherever we go." Even children watched these developments with wonder. They saw humans and aliens working together, building stations, sharing knowledge, and solving problems. Many young minds were inspired to study science, engineering, and diplomacy. Humanity had sparked curiosity and ambition in the next generation of galactic citizens. Over the following weeks, more systems requested human assistance. Trade routes were optimized, resources distributed efficiently, and collaborative projects began across multiple star systems. The galaxy's perception of humanity had shifted completely. Humans were no longer a distant, underestimated species. They were innovators, problem solvers, and partners in progress. The outer colonies held a grand ceremony to honor the human fleet. Holographic displays highlighted every project humans had undertaken: energy stabilization, orbital infrastructure, asteroid mitigation, communication networks, and cultural exchanges. Leaders from every species praised the humans' ingenuity, patience, and leadership. Kalen stood before the crowd, calm and composed. "We came here not to conquer, but to cooperate. We came not to dominate, but to inspire. Humanity's strength lies not in force, but in thought, creativity, and unity. Together, we can face challenges, explore new possibilities, and ensure a brighter future for all." The aliens applauded, their admiration genuine. Humanity's actions had rewritten history, proving that intelligence, discipline, and cooperation were the greatest strengths a species could possess. As the stars shone above, Kalen looked out at the colonies. He thought of Earth and the generations who had dreamed of reaching the stars. Humanity had proven that it could rise to challenges, protect others, and create lasting change. The galaxy had witnessed the arrival of Earth, and it would never be the same again. The fleet remained above the colonies, massive and silent, but no longer intimidating. They were guardians, collaborators, and symbols of possibility. Humanity had shown that when humans arrive, they bring solutions, hope, and inspiration. Fear had been replaced with respect. Doubt had turned into trust. And a new era of galactic cooperation had begun. As night deepened, Kalen whispered quietly to himself, "The galaxy has seen what humanity can achieve. Now it must learn to reach higher, to think bigger, and to work together. We have shown the way. The rest is theirs to build." The colonies below glowed with life and activity. Humans and aliens worked side by side, united by purpose and guided by intelligence. The galaxy, once divided and uncertain, now stood at the dawn of a new era, one defined by cooperation, wisdom, and the indomitable spirit of humanity. Earth had arrived, not with war, but with vision, and the stars themselves seemed to acknowledge it.